Redline Science, and the Reptile Report. All amazing supporters of the channel. Please go check them out. And of course, special thank you to our channel members. I appreciate you for supporting my dream. So shout out to Kurtwood, Reptile Feedings, Kit Kat, and Jamie. Also amazing supporters of the channel. Today it is something special, man, because I've been wanting to get this guy on for a while. He's an OG in the games, been killing it, runs with some of the biggest in the game, and just has some incredible snakes. And he just does some incredible stuff. So without further ado, let's bring Porter's Pythons to the live. How you doing today, sir?
What's up, buddy? I'm good. Just keeping busy. How you doing?
I I'm excited to have you here, man. I'm because you're a very busy person. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, man.
Okay.
How long have you been breeding? When did it start for you?
I started breeding in 2011. So I started collecting in like 2008, and then kind of just grew into an interest, and just kind of went from there. And so I did as much research as I could do back in the day, and then 2011 put the first ones together and been going full bore ever since.
Right. You have produced some fire, man. Now, did you have a mentor, or do you feel like you were kind of self-taught?
So I had two, one that I really appreciate, and the other one I was like, I kick myself in the butt sometimes. Not, I mean, just in one project, but no, I had a couple guys that after some time and talking to them and buying some snakes and just kind of picking their ear a little bit, they kind of turned into mentors. And one in particular was really, really helpful. And the other one was a little bit, it wasn't as big of a key factor, but, definitely helped me with other aspects of the game.
Right. Well, you like I said, you have incredible snakes, man. So, this is like a double part question. I want to
Mhm.
know, what is your favorite morph, and what morph do you want Porter's Pythons to be remembered for? Like when people see you, you want people to be like, shit, that's the Desert Ghost guy.
Yeah, so Pieds has always been the thing for me. I mean, it wasn't obviously in the first couple of years that was all just kind of real basic stuff. But until I grew, and then I finally bought into the Pied game, and that's been my biggest focus to date. I mean, I started dabbling in some other stuff, some Desert Ghost, some clown stuff. Always done the hypo stuff, but I'd say Pied is definitely the biggest portion of the collection and the focus. So,
You like the
um,
pies?
what's that?
I say, so you like the pies. Okay.
Yeah, that's our definitely our specialty, or our main focus. So as far as the favorite one, oh man, I don't know. There's some good ones. I started doing some of the special pied stuff. I know Troy was on, and he and I both are in that project, which is really fun to be a part of. Um, so that's been something over the last couple of years. A lot of yellow belly complex stuff with the pieds, and so yeah, just kind of always tinkering and adding something new to the game. So that's as far as a
That's what it's about,
favorite.
man.
Yeah, as far as a favorite, I don't know at the moment. They're just. I think it's always the next one.
Right. So you don't really have a fave, but you want to be known as the pie guy.
Yeah, or known for pieds. I mean, there's some big names in this industry, and I'm kind of obviously humbled when people refer to me as a pied guy here. But locally for sure, definitely one of the more pied known for pieds. But yeah, that's always my thing. I really love that gene.
Nice. Now I want you to, because I want breeders to come here, get knowledge, and be inspired. So I want you
Mhm.
to inspire some people. Do you remember your first sale? And if you do, how did it feel? You're chasing your dream. You just sold your first snake. What was that first sale, and how did it feel?
Yeah, I mean, my first clutch was ridiculous. It was, it was a pastel yellow belly to a normal female. way back, 2011. That was actually not a bad deal. And I got 12 eggs first clutch and no normals. And I held a few of the pastel yellow belly girls that I created and then sold the others. And it was pretty low key. It was, to a pet shop. And, but it was like, oh, okay, at least I have an outlet was kind of the look at it. It was like, okay, this is cool. But now it's just every sales is awesome. I appreciate everybody who does take the time and trusts us to produce some nice animals and they're happy with them. So I love every sale. It's awesome. But yeah, that first one was pretty, I wouldn't say like crazy, it was like, I think I sold it and got like store credit for feeders. Honestly,
Hey,
but it was a sale.
But
it was a start.
It's special though because it's your first sale and it's what launched you into the business. So you got to remember that,
Yeah, and I've always, up until just recently, just called this a hobby and called myself a hobbyist. But my wife will slap me because she's a business coach, and so she's like, no, it's more of a business. And I kind of had to wrap my head around that and accept that. A few years ago, I started to accept it as, okay, I can be a small business and not look at it to myself. Like I didn't want to leave work to go to work, and I didn't want to rely on animals, but it's a side business and it's fun and it's rewarding and I enjoy every minute of it, So
right. It can be kind of scary, trying to leave work. It really should just. I think breeding is amazing, but if you want to have another job too, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do both, because that you can have two passions. You're a firefighter and you make some amazing snakes. That's two of your passions, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, it works out really well. The schedule for the firefighting works really well to have some time off. Generally, summers get pretty busy here, which is obviously our main egg laying season. So my wife is a rock star, and she's been running the show here.
Wife in the snake room doing all kind of stuff.
Pulling more eggs. She's cut more eggs and pulled more eggs than I have in the last few seasons. But it's awesome. I couldn't do it without it. Without her help. So.
Right. That's what's up, man. I love that. So shout out to Miss Porter Pythons, man, in that snake room doing her thing. Yeah. And shout out to my wife. I don't know if she's watching. Yeah. But I'm about to quit nursing and breed full time. She might be like, no, you're not.
Ease into it. You gotta think it out. Think if that's the route you want to go. It's a big jump, and obviously my wife is telling me to do it full time, and I would be scared to rely on animals for a full-time gig.
Right.
Every once in a while we have clutches go bad. So if we had a bad season, like, am I going to make my mortgage? I don't want to deal with that. But the side business and the dealing with fun stuff and taking care of the things we want to take care of with the money off of this, it's definitely good. So.
Right. I love that. Now I want to give you a hot seat question. Okay. Not to slight anybody. We love everybody. And I've seen you. I've looked at your Instagram. You hung out with some of the biggest in the game. Ryan Barczyk, Miguel. You hang with some of the biggest in the game, making you a big dog. So we love everybody.
I don't know.
But I want to give you a hot seat question and ask, who is your favorite breeder?
Oh, man, that's a tough question. There's so many good dudes. You mentioned some of the well-known big names, right? And those guys have all been great to me. They've always been very inviting and very good to me and very inspiring. Obviously, they inspire a lot of us to produce some amazing stuff. Honestly, one of my buddies, Tim Thompson, is one of my favorites. Not a big name guy, but he's a vet. He's a good friend. Started out as a customer, and we become buddies. And I would say he's one of my favorite breeders that not a ton of people would think, And so I would say Tim is probably one of my favorites.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to definitely check him out.
The Serpent Chamber is his IG page. If you see him, that's his business.
Right. I think I think that hey, shout out to my wife. She's in the chat. Shout out to Best Dressed Balls is here. John Feely's here. He said, "Man, I love that bald head."
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, you do.
um, I gotta, me personally,
Mhm.
I always tell people I have one favorite breeder, but I think I actually really have two as my
Yeah.
favorites. And don't get me wrong, I love everybody,
Hmm.
but I think my first favorite will be Ozzy, and my
Hmm.
second favorite will be JD because I love the Stormtrooper.
Yeah. So I've met JD a couple times. Great guy. Met him and actually talked to him a few times. Very good dude. Got some really cool stuff with that all that Axanthic stuff. Ozzy, great guy. He stopped by our booth a couple of years ago. Was very easygoing. I mean, complimented me on one of my Orange Dream pies, which was like blew me away. You know. Thanks, Troy. I appreciate that. Um, but Ozzy was very cool, and we've chatted over the years. And honestly, I'll tell you right now, I've yet to buy a snake from Ozzy. Um, and when we chat, 9 times out of 10, it's about our families and our daughters and his daughters and my daughter and fishing and stuff like that. It's he's a great dude. So yeah, it's not a bad pick. I
I,
can't. I mean, it's hard to pick your favorite. You know, you've got so many. There's so many qualities. That's a terrible question.
no, that's why it's a hot seat question. It
Yeah,
makes you
yeah,
struggle. It makes you think.
yeah,
It's no disrespect to
yeah.
anybody, but
No, no, no,
it's
no.
just fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's funny.
That's a terrible question. It's super fun. It's super fun. Now you've been breeding for a long time, man. I want to know when in your career did you know you had something? Like you were like, shit, I'm owning something.
I think that I knew I had a good mindset for doing this and being successful because I always think ahead. So a few years ago, when I bought my first group of pieds, I bought a couple. I bought a pastel pied and a couple big normal regular pieds, breeding group, and I thought, well, I could pair this male to both these girls, make a bunch of all pieds and pastel pieds and whatnot, or I can make some cool hets and think 3 years, 2, 3 years down the road, and set myself up to where I'm not always creating just pastel pieds and whatever and regular pieds that you see at every show. At the time, obviously, there's a lot more now. Um, but at the time, you'd go to a show and it was pieds or regular or pastel pieds, and was like that was it. There wasn't a whole bunch of other selection. So, I took that time to divert and not just do visuals, and I was able to make a bunch of like some lemon blasts and orange dream hats and a couple other things that like they weren't at the time really around. So I think that at least the mindset part of the game, I thought I was onto something then. If that helps answer the question, as far as like an actual animal, when that paid off, yeah, I made some of my first orange dream pieds, and that was like, hey, I was onto something, and these things are phenomenal. Now they're breeding for me. So I think that's probably 2013 when I started doing that.
Nice, nice, nice. Orange Dream Pie. That's definitely a good combo.
Oh, it's fantastic. And this year I got super orange dream pies, and they are just phenomenal. They're so
That's
clean.
why you. That's why you're a powerhouse.
Okay.
Right now, with you breeding, man, I want to know what do you think currently right now? What is working for you? What worked for you in the past, and what's working for you currently right now? Do you feel like palpating is better for you, or do you ultrasound?
So I've always palpated. My buddy Terrell, who's Aiden's morphing pythons, he's another buddy of mine. He's in the Navy, so I have his collection while he is serving and on the carrier. So I have his stuff, and he bought an ultrasound, got it shipped over. So we played with it a little bit this season, but it was like it was late. It was like May when I scanned some girls, and so it had no bearing on the pairings that we did or any of that stuff. It was just let's learn how to use this thing. I'd wanted one for years, and I just never bought one because I was a little too cheap, and two, I think what I was doing so far with the palpating was working. And like a few years ago, I was, if we go back, like say like the last 5 seasons, I was like 18 out of 21 females paired. I got clutches from 18 girls. The next year, 20, I got 17. The year after that, 20, I got 17. I had a smaller season. I got 13 out of 13. And I think this year was our biggest pairings. And I think I got 26 females paired, 27 females paired, something like that. And I think you got 21 or 22 clutches. So I'm an old school, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of guy. And so like we are gonna try to tinker with the ultrasound a little bit this year. My buddy and I, we've kind of come up with a group of animals we're going to use as kind of a test group to learn it. You know, if they don't go, they don't go. It's not the end of the world for us. But it's going to be something that we're going to use to try to learn, but not jeopardize, you know, a huge, big change for the entire season and really like lose out on the whole season if we screw it up. I heard it's great, and it seems like it's great, but I still want to ease into it a little bit.
Right. I think I'd probably try and learn how to palpate too before I graduate into that ultrasound.
It's
so amazing.
It's easy.
Amazing answer.
Yeah, it's
Amazing
easy
answer.
until these females get like massive. Like some of my big females, it's tough. Like, Elvira is one of our like she's like our flagship girl. It's the pied girl that's on here. But
let's see it.
Last year, so she was so
Okay.
she got the perfect Jack Leonard face right there. But she last year was like 4,800 grams, almost 4,900 or 4,875 or something like that. I have regular size hands, you know, and it's like trying to reach around and like get enough pressure on her belly to really feel. It's tough. So the smaller girls, the 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 gram girls, they're pretty easy. But once they start getting plus 3,500 grams, it gets tough. So
right. I love that. Mm-hmm. Also too, Troy, I seen that too, man. Thank you for that. Super chat. I appreciate that, man. I love the support. I appreciate you. Now, with you said you were breeding, you know, you've been breeding for a while. Mm-hmm. How do you think breeding has evolved? Do you think it's still the same when you first got into the business, or do you think it's evolved and gotten better? What are some of the major changes you've seen since you've been in the game?
Well, obviously major changes has been the number of combinations and genes that are out there now. You know, there was quite a few when I first got into it, but like it's I don't even know how many times it's increased as far as the number of different combinations that have been produced, new genes that have come out, things like that. I'd say, I know Troy was saying he had quite a few people kind of help him out. I struggled to find a couple people that would really kind of give me the time of day.
Oh, wow.
Back then. So I don't know if that's just where I was here in Southern California. I don't know. It seemed like he had kind of alluded to, you know, keeping a lot of stuff close to the chest and not really giving out tips and tricks and whatever. And I had a few guys that I bugged them every single show. And so I would see them 2 or 3 or maybe 4 times a year. And I would just hang out at the corner of the table, ask them as many questions as I could. You know, I had to buy a few animals before they start like really paying attention to me. But a lot of those guys are ones who kind of ended up helping me out and give me, even if it was like this guy gave me one tip and this guy gave me one tip and one tip, you know, like I took all those things and tried to just apply them to kind of what I do and how I end up doing my thing. So I would say now, obviously, the number of morphs and genes and everything's huge. The use of the ultrasound seems like that's a big thing. Um, Social media, I think, has been a big part for bringing in new people to this. I mean, some of these guys, Miguel's a prime example of social media king, and I think I was in his first 25 followers, and we met at dinner one time. He was a good dude, and when he first got into it, and but like he's bringing in people who you would never even think are in the hobby or in the reptile industry, and bringing in people, it's expanding to that. So I think that's really helped. I think it's hurt sometimes for some people. It's a weird people, keyboard wizards and stuff, who kind of get a little crazy on here, and so it can kind of hurt some people. But I think ultimately that we've got a really good industry and good core group of people that are out to help out and take care of each other. So look out for each other, So I think it's good. I think it's a strong industry and still getting stronger every year. So
I love that. So you basically said, we evolved. It was kind of harder for you to get help. And now, through the years, people just kind of gave you a tip, and you just started using them. So I love that we're helping people now a lot more than we were in the past. So that's an amazing answer. Now, I want to give you a hot seat question.
Oh, God.
And to me, I already have an answer in my head.
Okay.
I think, you're an amazing person. You're breeding some amazing snakes. You're saving lives, putting out fires. So I think that would be an amazing movie, The Firefighter Snake Breeder. Let's say I was to make that movie. Anybody in the world, who would you pick to play you?
Play me, huh? Well, I don't know, man. That's obviously The Rock would look just like me. I'm just kidding.
Bro, that's what I was about to say. The Rock, that's crazy.
No, I don't know, man. He's already played a firefighter, so he already knows the gig. Just got to teach some snakes. I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe Ryan Reynolds. That guy's funny. I think he's a good dude. So yeah, we go. All right, Vin Diesel. MKR says Vin Diesel. Nice,
dude. That would be a fire movie. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the firefighter snake breeder, kicking ass, putting out fires.
Where are you going?
Banging out snakes. I'd pay to see that. Hilarious, nice. Man.
See, that's why I can't do the interviews on the podcast. I can't come up with a question like that. That's great.
That's what it's about, man. It's about getting that knowledge and having fun, man. Because if you have a good experience, you'll come back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I want you to act like I've never bred a snake, man. And I've walked up to you and I said, Mr. Mike, sir, I want to be a snake breeder. What's the first thing you're going to tell me?
Great. Let's welcome to a huge addiction. I mean, that's the first thing you're going to see, See, great minds think alike, Troy. So, when people come up to me and ask about buying a snake, that's the first thing I ask them, is like, hey, are you buying a pet, or do you have any inclination of wanting to breed in the future? Because I may steer them to a certain animal or steer them away from a certain animal. If it's just going to be a pet, there's no need for them to go and pay extra money for a het, something like that, So I like to educate people, no matter what they are planning to buy or do, just to kind of see where they're at. If they want to breed and they're like, yeah, I want to breed, I ask them what they like. What is it like? Look at the table here, and if we're at an expo, or if they're, if I'm talking to them on Instagram, hey, look at my page. Is there something you like? What kind of sticks out in your mind? And then I kind of help them, try to teach them about how to go about, getting the right pieces of their puzzle, and generally it's start with females. You know, if you're going to start with babies, start with females. And I don't know, I kind of just try to, it always winds up leading into a little bit of coaching, you know. And I don't care if people buy from me or don't buy from me. I will still sit down, chit chat. I can talk snakes all day, you know. So I enjoy helping people get in that. But yeah, first question is generally, you know, you're looking for a pet or you're looking for breeding. So that's my first question.
I love that. So it's like, that's amazing. So if I was a breeder and I'm buying a snake from you, you're not just selling me anything. You're trying to make sure, hey, are you a hobbyist or what kind of projects do you got going on? And let me help you steer you in the right direction.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people will tell you, you know, hey, just if you are going to be breeding, it's like, hey, breed what you're passionate about, which is great advice, unless you like ugly snakes. If you like ugly snakes, you're going to be having a rack full of ugly snakes and no one's going to buy them. So there has to be a happy medium between what you like, breeding what you like, and what's marketable, what's going to have a market for you, you know? So I've talked people, honestly, I talk people straight out of the sale because, you know, they wanted to buy stuff. They wanted to buy hets. And I'm like, well, you're not going to work with this project. You're not going to do this. Like, you just want a pet. Let's get you a pet. Let's get you an animal where you're not paying extra money because it's got a gene you can't see, you know? So I've talked people out of sales and we wind up kind of making a sale anyways, but it's just like, I've talked them out of stuff that was more expensive even than just because I don't want people getting screwed and I don't want people buying stuff for no reason, you know? So.
Right. I love that's your mentality, man. Now, I want to time travel. I want you to go back in time with me and tell me what's going on this day exactly. Just a random picture. Tell me what's going on today.
So Miguel, who actually only lives a couple hours away from me anyways, was literally 10 minutes around the corner and at Prehistoric Pets, which is, I mean, I grew up going to that store. It's Jay Brewer's store. And I think that's the day that Barczyk was there too. So Miguel was like, this was early on. Miguel was getting into it and Barczyk was there and they were starting to do these interviews and podcasts and stuff there. And so I just went by to see some buddies and took a picture with Miguel.
Yeah. That's why you run with the big dog. So it's like you're guilty by association. You're a big dog because you run with the big dog.
I guess, man. It's funny. Like people say that, and I was like, okay, I mean, it's just Miguel, it's my buddy, you know, like, you know, and he's big. He's doing great things in the business and the hobby and the industry, and him and all these guys they're all great, you know. So I am fortunate to be able to hang out with some of these guys and talk with some of these guys. And like I said, I consider them friends. You know, I'm not the world's biggest customer to any of the guys. So I consider them all buddies and friends and, you know.
Right. So currently right now, can you talk about some of your current projects? What's some of the stuff you got your hands in right
now? Pies, obviously. Lots of quite a bit of hypo stuff. Just started doing clowns this season and desert ghost stuff this season. So this season is going to be a lot of desert ghost stuff. Should be some more desert ghost, more clown stuff and DG clown stuff, and obviously tons of pies. That's a big one. Might start venturing into doing my DG Pied project. That'll probably be another one. And then, that's pretty much the main ones. A lot more receptives than Codom stuff, like I've had in the past. As far as straight Codom, obviously there's like quite a bit of Codom stuff in with the recessives mixed in. But as far as I've kind of cut some of the numbers on just straight Codom pairings. Like they're almost all having recessives attached to them.
Right, right, right. Um, I want to talk to you, because like I said, I wanted people to be able to get a little knowledge and kind of see
Mhm.
how different people do different things. So I want you to talk about your season. And when I
Okay.
say that, I want you to teach me, when do you feel like the best time to start your season is and end your season?
So it's grown. It's lengthened from what I used to do. When I first started, um, I started like my very first season. I paired January 1st, and then went to, I don't know, March or April. But I only paired 4 girls, 5 girls. Paired 5 girls. I got 4 clutches my first season. Um, Now when I'm pairing, this season I'm probably pairing 30 plus girls this season. So it's grown to where now I've backtracked it to now I am starting November 1st. And then I'm pairing, really, I'll pair certain animals based on either what I'm feeling when I'm palpating, or how the male and female are reacting to each other. If I put them in there and that male's like straight to the girl and they're locking and all that stuff, I'll keep pairing them until they pretty much like, I've had enough of that guy, and leave them alone. That's how I do it. It works great. I pretty much try to, Adrian, I pretty much try to get, you know, 3 to 5 locks a season for the females. The males, it depends on how many girls I'm um, putting a male to. First year breeder boys, I may put to one or two females. A well seasoned male might see four or maybe five. I'm not one who does 10 females to a male, um, but that's just me. So
Right, right, right. I love that. I've been following you for quite a while, and I know
mhm.
you do a ton of reptile expos. You've been with all your friends, and it's amazing. Now, I want to ask you,
Mhm.
Morph Market is such a giant. It's so huge. It's so
Yeah.
big. Everybody sells on Morph Markets. So, to me, why do you think reptile expos are so important to the hobby if we already have Morph Market?
I think so. Morph Market came in just a few years ago. I don't know, you know how many years now. I enjoy the personal interaction. I enjoy, like, it's hard to ask, hey, are you looking for a pet? Are you looking for to breed? It's like via email, or whatever. I like the personal interaction. I like to talk with the people that are potentially either are buying or potentially buying from me, or not. I mean, even if they're looking for something that I just don't work with, I'll point them to a buddy of mine who might be vending with me that might be working that project. And if not, I've been in the game for a while now, that I know quite a few people in different projects. I mean, there's so many out there that there's no way you can cover them all. So for me, it's just I'd rather have that nice interaction, and I'm a people guy. I like talking to people. I like meeting them and having that personal interaction. Plus the other thing too, like, I take a lot of pride in the way our booth looks. It's really clean. It's really professional looking. Everyone's greeted when they come to our booth. That's something you don't get basically off of Morph Market. You're applying to a picture. I want the way our booth looks to reflect how it is out in my snake room, pretty much any time of day, which is clean, which is kept up. It's all professional. Um, I want that to be a reflection. I'm not going to an expo with dingy enclosures, dingy tubs. They just look like garbage. Like, I want it to look like a professional operation, and so that's like a little glimpse for people to look, instead of just looking at a picture on Morph Market. It brings that element to it. I think, at least that's my thought on it. Musical python. How many should you bring to an expo? how many do you have and what are you selling? Bring all the ones you need to sell. Obviously you're not going to sell sitting at home if you're doing an expo. I don't do that many expos. I do like 3 a year. I do 2 super shows, reptile super shows, which are gigantic, and we just did Repticon this weekend. I might, depending on what I have available at any given time, might slip in another one. Might try Reptile Super Show in Vegas. The summer ones are tough for me sometimes because of fires. So if I'm out
right, you're a busy person.
Yeah. So if I'm out on a fire, sometimes it's hit or miss if I get to make the expo. So
right. Well, the answer you gave, I just love it, man, because Morph Market is huge, but it's just like you said, you just love that interaction with your customer. You love not even that, just the camaraderie of
sure.
being there with your friends and vending shows. So, reptile expos are important. So I love your answer.
The other thing too, like seeing that animal firsthand as opposed to on a picture, even if the pictures are very good, I take a lot of time and effort to take some good pictures to at least try to represent the animal when I do post them either on Instagram or if they actually do make it to Morph Market. There's always still look better in person than they do even on a great photo. So that there's that element too that you get to kind of these really do look better,
Right. So I agree.
There's that too.
I agree with you all the way, man. Now I wanna play a game. It's a hot seat question. It's like an association game. Like I like to associate all the breeders with the store. For instance, JKR, to me that's Louis Vuitton. I feel like Ozzy Boyd's, that's Gucci. So if I'm shopping at Mike Porter's Pythons, what store am I shopping at?
Probably Rip Curl Outlet, man. So, and I say that because I joke that I'm sponsored by Rip Curl because we have a Rip Curl outlet right by where I work, and so I'm cheap, man. I bought t-shirts and board shorts. I'm a Southern California born and raised kid, so beach boy all the way. And people tell you, this guy's wear shorts and sandals all year round. That's all I do. So it would probably be, okay, maybe the Rip Curl actual store, not the outlet, factory outlet, but maybe Rip Curl.
Really?
It's easy going, it's beach boy stuff, that's probably what I would say.
Right. Silly answer.
If I'm not in a Porter's Python shirt or my work uniform, 9 times out of 10, I'm wearing something Rip Curl.
Hey, no right or wrong answer, man. I love it, bro. If you like it, I love it. I want you to give us some knowledge, man, because you've been in the game for so long. I want you to talk about holdbacks. How do you pick your holdbacks? And, if somebody's like a new breeder, what do you think a good amount of holdbacks, is per season? How do you talk about the holdbacks?
So I think a good amount of animals, whether it's holdbacks or just your main collection, is what you can handle comfortably and not get stressed out about keeping clean, keeping up with feeding, cleaning, all that stuff. If you can manage to keep, 50 holdbacks, then keep 50 holdbacks. If you can manage to keep 5 holdbacks, keep 5 holdbacks. I think you're always wanting to up the game and always want to up your collection. That's obviously the name of the game for the holdback stuff. But if you can't comfortably maintain the animals, then you shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be keeping that many. And I know people who have gotten way in over their heads because they start buying. Agreed, Jerome. They start buying every deal under the sun, and like a lot of new people that get into this that I talk to, and then I kind of start helping mentor or whatever. They're just buying everything because it's a good deal. And if it's not working, if you're not working toward a project, that animal doesn't work towards a project for you, or you have no like vision of what that animal can do for you in the future, it's not necessarily a good deal. It's just maybe an inexpensive animal. And a lot of people do that. They get sucked into, oh, this is a pretty male, this is a pretty male, this is a pretty male. And boom, they've got a whole, 15 males that they have no plans for. So that same kind of thing applies with the holdbacks. So if the holdbacks are towards a project or towards an end result or improving your stuff, and you can maintain them, then keep back as many as you can.
Right. I heard it, man. This man is giving us some incredible knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Um,
Last year, just for an example, I think I only had like between new acquisitions and holdbacks, like 20 animals. This year, as far as holdbacks, just my own personal, not Terrell's, I got like 4, and that's including having Super Orange Dream Pieds and Super Orange Dream Fire Pieds that I'm just listing for sale. Those aren't even the holdbacks. I held back my first clown ever, and a DG clown, and a couple other animals. So you don't always have to keep back a ton. Keep back what you're comfortable keeping and maintaining.
Hell yeah, that makes total sense, man. I want you to talk now because I've been seeing it in the hobby, and I want to get your take on it.
Okay.
What do you think about breeder loans? Like people, loaning out snakes, making that clutch and splitting the eggs. And if you're for them, who would you like to do a breeder loan with?
So I have done them. I will do them on occasion. A lot of times you get very bad experiences with them. So if you do them, get everything out on the table ahead of time. That's bottom line. But they do go bad. But that being said, I'll do them with people that I know, I trust, and work well with. I'm actually my buddy Adam Serrano that I've been vending shows with for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years maybe now. Local guy to me, great with Desert Ghost stuff, some of the best I've seen. We're going to do some big projects there. I mean, the whole deal I have with Terrell is essentially one long extended breeder loan. We have our deal worked out. It was mainly I didn't want to see this buddy of mine lose his collection because he's going to go serve in the Navy. So just be selective. Don't just go throw them out there. I think one thing that happens when people do breeder loans, I'm big on wanting to quarantine stuff. And so breeder loans can kind of jeopardize that if you get a little overzealous and you want to start pairing right away. I have done them on a pass where I take that animal in ahead of time and quarantine it. And it doesn't matter where that animal comes from, I quarantine it. It could come straight from Justin or Miguel, and they all get quarantined. It's just standard practice for me. That's something that I was taught early on, and just as a precaution, like I got a lot of time and money invested in these animals. Now and they're animals. Like bottom line, even if there weren't, a bunch of money involved, like they're animals. I don't want them getting sick and having problems. So I would say that, keep that part in mind if that's something you do. So start early if you're gonna get it all worked out ahead of time. Adam and I are gonna do something. I mean, I don't know, man. Who else could I do one with? Ozzy? He's like, oh, I don't need your stuff. I don't know, man.
That'd be amazing to do a breeder loan with Ozzy though.
Oh, that'd be unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, they just send me some rando mail. I'll figure it out. Ozzy be good, Justin be good. I tried one with Miguel, but my boy is like dud. So, we tried that a couple of years ago for a little project, but it's just one of those things, man. If you're gonna do them, get all the details worked out ahead of time, no matter who it is, and then plan on if you're gonna do quarantine, which is a good idea. Plan on that ahead of time.
Right. I agree with you. Now, I want to give you a hot seat question.
I'm
All
really
breed.
glad you space these things out because they're gnarly.
That's the point of them. They're fun, make you think. I love them. Now, hot seat question.
Mhm.
All breeders, you have multiple projects. You want to do this, you want to do that. Now,
Okay.
I am curious. Have you ever lied to Mrs. Porter Pythons about the price of an animal you needed for a project? Like you're like, baby, I need this. It's only 400, and it was really 2,000.
No, I haven't. I hate liars, like with a passion. So I wouldn't do that. Um, but I'm also at the point in my game where a lot of times I can trade for stuff. So even if I get an animal and I give a few or whatever, and it's partial trade, partial, partial cash. She's like I said, she's a business coach. She understands, like she's a big entrepreneur, basically entrepreneur coach. So she understands the need to invest in yourself and your business and all that stuff. So part of it's like I've got some expensive boys that we've picked up, either from Miguel or whomever. I told her straight out, hey, this is what it was. But a lot of times, like I said, we either work partial trade or something like that. But no, I think you start doing that, and having the support of the missus in this is key, right? Troy talked about it, how Lisa helps out with so much, and the rats, your wife, my wife. I mean, they're the backbone. Like she's doing more work than I am the last couple of years, and so like to lie and undermine that would just be stupid. No way, no way. Uh,
I
nope.
love that, man. Having your wife's support, man. That's incredible, man. I love it. It's just really just a hot seat question to get you in
Yeah,
trouble.
yeah.
I like throwing it in there.
I like it. I like it. I think you asked Troy that same question. That was funny.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Now, I want you to talk about, we all know that fiasco that happened in Texas with, and BP 101 and how he addressed the disaster in Texas.
Mhm.
You handle disasters on a day-to-day basis. So I want you to talk about some of like the disaster prep you have done for your snake room. Like for instance, what plan do you have in place? Like if your power goes out, your light goes out, what have you done to keep your business valuable if a disaster hit?
Yeah. So luckily, I mean, I live in an area. I'm 10 minutes from the water in Long Beach. Our temperatures rarely get that cold. We do get cold, believe it or not crazy cold, and we don't get those freezes like Texas did, which was a disaster. Um, but I do have, I have a generator, backup generator. I do have because my whole snake room is in the garage, so I have keys to to get into the garage door, that are accessible. So like I can actually get in the garage door if the power went out. Um, the room is all insulated. When I built the room, we insulated all the exterior walls and the interior walls, and so that was part of it. So it would take a while for all that temperature to drop and everything else, with all the racks that are in the room and all the animals and everything. Man, it would take a lot to dip. But yeah, basically just the portable generator is the one that. Hey, buddy. Um, uh, so he wanted one time to come to a show because he wanted a hug because I smelled good. He wanted a business card and hand sanitizer, and I got them all. I had it all for him. Good old buddy MJ.
Right. He did
So yeah,
something heavy
mainly
today. Shout out to MJ,
that.
man. He did
What's that?
I think he had Tarzan on today. I was just
Oh
giving him
yeah,
a
I
shout
did
out.
see that.
Shout out to MJ, man. He just did an incredible podcast with the real Tarzan. Y'all make sure y'all go give him some love.
Yeah. MJ is another boy just down the way from me. So we got a lot of breeder buddies over here in SoCal. It's fun. But yeah, pretty much just having a generator, having extra supplies. I've got cases of heat packs and stuff if I really needed to pack up and get the animals taken care of. But I mean, the room's dialed in, everything's on its own thermostat. The generator, the keys to the garage in case I needed to get in. Another thing is I don't get all my rats from one source. So in the event like we had a shortage or like a lot of times it's heat waves here we deal with, people, rat breeders here having die-offs. And so I guess that would be one way of looking at a disaster, is not having all my rodent supply come from one source. Now I go to the same people over and over, but I do have other outlets and other connections if I need to get rodents because, you know, this person had a die off or this person had a die off, or the heat's just affecting the animals to where they're not breeding and reproducing. So having backup alternate plans as far as food sources is a big one, I guess.
Right. That answer makes total sense, man. Because having animals, you gotta be prepared for a
Mm-hmm.
disaster. It's so important to talk about that, and I love that answer. Now, with you being breeding and
Mm-hmm.
have doing it so long, I want you to tell people, it's not all sweet. Accidents happen, mistakes happen, stuff can go wrong that you got to be prepared
Mm-hmm.
for. For
Yeah.
instance, like have you ever had an egg bound female, and if you did, how did you deal with it?
So I haven't had egg bound female. So we have a really good herp vet, half 20 minutes, half an hour away. You know, if I've ever had friends who've had animals get sick, or we've had a couple get RI over the years, and I take them straight to the doctor there, real close, and kind of nip it in the butt real quick. But as far as one of the things that's really difficult, especially being an animal lover, obviously, is you get those animals that just aren't going to be viable. You know, you get those hatchlings is usually what the happens. And for whatever rhyme or reason, every once in a while you'll get one with a gnarly kink, or you'll get something that's got a facial deformity or a mouth deformity to where it won't eat or survive, no matter what you do. So that's tough. That's probably the hard part is dealing with maybe euthanizing animals if they have those deformities that are going to be life threatening or whatever. I'd say that's a hard part. That's one of the hardest things for me to deal with. I don't like it at all.
Right. Um, Currently, man, are you looking for anything new? Like, you got your eye on any new acquisitions?
I just picked one up. Um, so I had an animal that I thought was a boy, bought from my buddy, and never checked it. Now it's a really big girl. So it kind of threw off my plans. So I ended up having to buy a backup boy for it. No big deal. It happens. Um, it does happen. And even still, being the experienced breeder, it happened to me as far as like being on the receiving end. No big deal. Make an adjustment. But I bought a really nice Orange Dream Fire Desert Ghost Boy. So that was as far as a bigger pickup recently. I'd say that was probably it. But other than that, I mean, a couple of the things I'm really looking forward to are sitting in last year's holdback group, or new acquisitions from last year. So I don't have
Nice.
anything that I've been eyeballing right now. Yeah.
Right now, man. Before you gave us an amazing hour, man. I got a few more questions, but I just
Yeah.
want to thank you, man, because you have so much knowledge. You're so down to earth, man. You're a good guy.
I appreciate it. Yeah. No problem.
Now, I want to talk about your IG, man. How did you feel when you you blowing up on there? You almost at 30, 25, 26,000 on IG, man. How does it feel to have almost 30,000 people want to see that fire you working with?
That's it's humbling, obviously. I'm not a big social media guy. In fact, I was completely against it for years. And that stems from the fire service side. Back in the day when I was getting into the fire service, the guys who were, talking to us, either our academy or mentors or whatever in the fire service. Like, hey, don't do social media. And then back then it was MySpace and whatever else it was back then. And they're like, hey, if you have a background investigation and they get on there and they're going to see you with some guy smoking weed, instantly that's going to be your best friend. You're going to get booted from these things. So I had this mentality for forever. And just a few years ago, I started starting the IG page and basically figured it out that, okay, this is for the business. I'm a full-time firefighter for years now. I'm not doing background investigations anymore. We'll start it. But that's where my focus is. I do have a Facebook page, I guess, but I don't really know how to use it. But IG is super easy. I'm not a techie guy, if you can tell. But I'd say the IG's been really good. It's really helped. Like I mentioned earlier, if things make it to Morph Market, a lot of times I post something and say, hey, this guy's available, and boom. I'm getting a phone call or a DM or something right off the bat on an animal that I just posted, sometimes within an hour, so they'll even make it to Morph Market, which is cool. Saves me the time and effort of posting those. But it's been good. I take a lot of pride in I really make sure that my page is like, if you got a 3-year-old, like my daughter's gonna be 3 tomorrow, if she grabs my phone and is on my IG page, she's not saying anything offensive. To each their own. Whatever you want to put on your IG page, fine. If you want to put live feedings, or you want to put this or that, whatever you want to put on there, by all means, go for it. I don't, because I want to kind of, I don't know, appease the masses, but I also want to make sure that, like I said, if my daughter got the phone or somebody else's kid got the phone, they're not going to see some crazy and something that was going to upset them. They're going to see pretty pictures of snakes. You can see pictures of my kids, maybe some fishing pictures, and that's about it. I don't do a whole lot of. We just now we're able to start doing some work pictures too, but even before that, I was real careful if I had any work pictures because we had a big social media policy on that. But I think the social media is great. It can be very beneficial, but it can bite you in the butt if you abuse it and just run your mouth, and you shouldn't.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you, man. Now, I want to talk about Morph Market, and I get it. We all use it. Your breeder use it. I get it. Now, I want you to give me your opinion. You yourself, you have a brand. You're recognizable. Your Porter's Python. Miguel has a brand. Ozzy has a brand. Canova, that's a brand. And we all know that they're on Morph Market selling snakes. Do you feel like smaller breeders that necessarily don't have a brand can still make money on Morph Market against some of you bigger guys?
Yeah, I think anybody can. But if you put a terrible picture on an if you look on some of these things, like people list animals for sale and their picture is like sitting on a pizza box or something, it's not the best, advertisement, so look at what the bigger names are doing, or, if you want to look, you want to consider me that, and you want to look at my pictures, or you want to look at obviously Miguel's or Justin's pictures, things like that, look at it and try to emulate what they're doing. You don't necessarily have to go and try to make what Justin's making or what Ozzy's making or what I'm making and to be successful. You can be successful on many different levels on this game, but at least set yourself up to succeed and make a sale by presenting your animal nicely. If you see these pictures with like these animals with stuck shed, and it's like, take a little pride in the animal and take in its keeping, and then maybe you'll get a sale, but so I don't know, man. I think that anybody can make it on there, but you have to do it right.
Don't just rush. Don't put up no trash No
No.
trash pictures, you know.
No, I mean, go take an animal out, take 10 pictures of it, take 5 pictures of it, and nowadays, I mean, all my pictures are done with my cell phone, so it's super easy. But take a couple pictures, 5 pictures, 10 pictures, throw away the 8 that look like crap, and put 2 pictures on there that look really good. Easy. It ain't rocket science, man. It's not rocket science. Just take pride in what you're producing, and it'll work.
Right. Now, before we get out of here, man, how does one get a Porter Python shirt? I heard it's like Saul. You pick like 10 people, put them in the building. Whoever can survive the night, you will give them a shirt.
It's like a death match. Put you in one room, and whoever wins gets whatever shirt. Yeah. I don't have a whole lot left anymore. I had at one point, I had a whole bunch of them and sold a bunch of them. I got a few left. I do have a Etsy page, I think. I think my wife started an Etsy page.
We're going to hit you up and get some of that merchandise.
Yeah. I'll find it. I'll send you the link. But I think it's just that.
I definitely do that, man.
I might have some of the old OG shirts, though. I'll take a look. What size you wear?
Love it, man. Me 3X, man.
Okay, I'll get back to you.
I'm gonna hit you up, man. I love it, man.
And down, and they all sold out. So all my buddies here, like, oh man, 2X, 3X. You don't like any of those big guys? I'm like, hey man, I just got the one size because I did all like silk screen, like this whole setup, and I was like, cheap. I just did the one size fits all kind of a thing. So. We'll get a new run here pretty soon, but
I love it, man. Well, I just need you to know, man, you're crushing it, man. I definitely watch your IG page because you produce some fire. You gave us an amazing hour. Like I said, I like to keep my podcast to about an hour. Yeah, no disrespect to anybody. I like to go about an hour, so that way it's always room for a round 2 in the future. Yeah, maybe down the road you come back on, tell us what you're up to. You gave us some amazing knowledge, and we had fun, man. So I just want to say thank you for giving us an hour of your time.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. I know we talked about doing this a while back, and finally made it happen. So I appreciate it. It's always an honor to get somebody want to chat with me about what I love to do. So appreciate it.
I love it, man. You have a good day, sir.
All right, you too. Thanks for everybody else who joined in. Appreciate it.
Awesome podcast, man. Porter's Pythons, man. He's definitely crushing it. Y'all make sure y'all go check his Instagram out. Give him a like, follow, share him out. He's doing amazing stuff. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I appreciate you for coming. I can't do it without you. Everybody, man. I love all y'all. Of course, make sure you go check out Ozzy Boys, Venom Proof Cages, the Reptile Report, and the Red Line Science. All amazing people. Of course, shout out to our channel members. Thank you for allowing me to chase my dream. Of course, Reptile Feedings, Kurtwood, Kit Kat, and Jamie. I love you. Shout out to Best Dressed Balls, man, for that super chat. Thank you so much. Kurtwood, I seen that comment. I appreciate it. All y'all in the chat, I love you. Make sure to, on Fridays, go check out the Iron Animal Show. Saturday and Tuesdays, go check out Kurtwood and Reptile Feedings. And I don't know when he goes live, TNT, but go check him out. TNT Balls, go check him out. Much love to everybody in the chat. Until next time, I'll see y'all. Peace.
You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best for you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years, but you keep grinding. Welcome to Big